So here we are at another interview for the Vintage Nuts Tribe, and today we are with
Tanner Foust,
the legend, Tanner Foust. And actually, I did embarrass myself a bit earlier because I asked Tanner if he would be willing to do an interview, and he did give me kind of positive feedback, and I got so nervous I asked him if he's heard of Top Gear in order to introduce Drive Tribe to him.
Fair enough, it's all good.
Yeah, and so why don't you tell us a bit about Top Gear? You've hosted it for what, 6 years?
Yeah, we had, it was about 6 years. It was at least 72 episodes or so, which is like almost 700 days of filming.
Wow.
And it was, it's a great, if you're a car guy, it's the best show in the world to work on, I think.
Right.
And we had a blast doing it, and Rutledge Adam and myself, and we stopped filming about a year and a half ago almost.
Sure.
And so hopefully Rutledge Adam and I will move on to some other stuff. But it's still one of my favorite shows.
Sure. And are you looking for more shows in that kind of arena, kind of car shows to do, or are you more focused on driving now and doing more of that kind of stuff?
Racing's always been the core of what I do. I got 3 jobs there: racing, stunt driving for films, and then TV stuff. The TV stuff has ranged from import racers and Supercars Exposed and all these old shows on Speed and ESPN and stuff in the past, and then Top Gear was kind of like the holy grail of car shows, and it was super awesome to get that gig. That was on History Channel for a number of years, and so that became a more relevant part, I think, of my job. But racing has always been a core.
Sure.
And so, from drifting and rally, and then I kind of found rallycross in 2009 in Europe.
Right.
And pushed real hard to get that sport here in the U.S. And the current owners in the U.S. have done a good job of building it and promoting it. And it's, I think it's one of the, in the future when motorsport is different than we see it now, I think rallycross will be one of the ones that survives. It's really built for the future.
Yeah, I love seeing you rally. And of those sports that you do of racing, rally, you do some street racing, you do drifting, is there one that kind of shines above the rest that you prefer?
I like the rallycross. I do.
Yeah.
I am fortunate I get to do some off-road. I'll do Baja 1000 this year with Reese Mellon, and then I get to do some variety of stuff. I'm really lucky that way.
Sure, yeah.
But rally racing through the forest is epic. It's just not as popular here in the U.S. as it is overseas, so it's difficult to figure out how to afford it. It's really expensive. Rallycross, though, is perfect for a young audience, new audience. The races are only 3 or 5 minutes long or so, and the cars go insanely fast, and there's lots of pushing and jumping and rubbing. And,
right.
It looks fun to drive, and it's really fun to drive.
Yeah, sweet. And so you were saying Top Gear is kind of a car guy show. Is there specific cars that you will enjoy driving specifically more than others? Is there?
I'm sure that I tend towards either the hyper fast or like muscle cars or something. I tend to like the hyper fast or the ones. I think the common denominator is they require you to exercise a little bit of skill or restraint.
Sure.
And so, like muscle cars, where you have a massive amount of power, not that much grip, not great suspension.
Right.
There's so much trouble you can get in with your right foot. The brakes maybe aren't that good. And then supercars, where you can build speed so fast,
Sure.
you really have to be disciplined, and the tires are high tech, so you need to drive them the way that they need to be driven. And I like those things that don't just marshmallow down the road.
Right, that you kind of have to work with.
Yeah, they require, you have to keep your eyes wide open. You have to pay attention to the actual driving experience, not necessarly just getting from A to B.
Sure. And how did you get into cars? Like, what was
I've been a fan of cars, like you, since I was 3 years old. I remember the first time I really got fascinated by driving. I was 5 years old around. It was in my dad. He had an old 912E, Porsche that was a really slow Porsche, but it was beautiful. And it was turning right not far from here, from Colorado Boulevard to Hampton Avenue.
Sure.
By the golf course there's a nice sweeping right turn, and the tires were squealing through the corner, and I was thinking, what the hell is that? And it was that was the moment that I got into cars, and I paid attention to driving. And my dad's a doctor. I have nobody in my family in racing, really.
Sure.
So it wasn't until I was in college before I started chasing down the idea of making a living in driving.
Sure, and you went to CU, right?
I went to CU.
Yeah.
But unlike a lot of the people I race against, really, where their families got them into racing and they've been driving go-karts before they could walk.
This is kind of more your passion that you pursued.
This was my interest, and it took me a long time to realize that people actually made a living at it.
Sure.
I wasn't a race fan. When I watched racing, it was to see what they were experiencing.
Yeah.
Which is why I gravitated towards rally racing. Because in rally racing, you could really see that front tires are moving, the drivers are really working.
Yeah.
And you know, with a Formula car, unless you've been in one, it's hard to relate to it.
Right, because you're just seeing them zoom past and
Right.
yeah.
You know, there's not much hand movement. There's
Right.
you know, and so I guess that's dirty driving, you know, rally driving. I was
Sure.
really interested in it. And I kind of chipped away at the business side of it,
Right.
and then eventually figured out the baby steps to making it a job.
Sweet. And do you have a favorite car out there? What's like
One of my favorite cars in the world is here, Carrera GT.
Yeah?
Porsche. And we're lucky with one of the shows I used to do called Red Line TV. A guy used to donate his car to us all the time. We used it in 5, 6, 7 shows. We drifted up canyon roads with it. We did the Texas Mile with it. We drove it all over the places. Like any time we needed a show idea, we'd go, let's just take out that black Carrera GT and do some amazing stuff. And I've spent so much time in that car, and it's just one of the best. It's one of those cars you get in and it feels like you've been sliding around your whole life.
Sure.
The sound, I mean, there's no stability control or anything like that, but it's an awesome car.
Sweet. And is there a car that you particularly dislike?
The Aztec, I think everybody dislikes that one.
Yeah, so hard to like.
That's hard to like. There are some, you know what? I'm pretty good at finding the good side of people, like, and just communicating with the part of somebody that I
Sure.
like to communicate with, even if the rest of them's kind of terrible. It's like that with cars. Like every car has some sort of intrinsic value to it, except the Aztec. There's virtually nothing right about it.
Yeah.
The way the fenders are and everything, it almost seems like it was sort of a joke that. And I'm sorry if you designed it, but it almost seems like it was a joke that somehow made it onto history.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, you got to imagine that these people had a meeting looking at this car and decided, yeah, that's what we want to sell.
We know exactly who's going to just buy the tar out of this thing. They're going to love it.
Yeah.
And it comes with a tent. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah, that's okay. So that's the redeeming quality. I bet we could talk about the Aztec, and you'd really want one by the end of the conversation. See, it comes with a tent. So it's a package you can buy. So you open the back end, and a tent pops out. It also, I think you can see through part of the rear deck, right, for added visibility. So that you can
there
see
we go.
cars. I may be wrong about that. That's it.
Yeah. What do you think about the Toyota Baja?
The Baja, which is...
That's the one that looks kind of like the old Outback but has a pickup back end. I'll just say this: the ugliest car in the world, the Subaru Baja. Sorry.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
The Subaru Baja. Okay, I'll say that it's not cool, but the original Subaru Brat,
Yeah.
which it's based on, is very cool.
Yeah, that's a cool car.
And I've sat in one of those. It has the seats facing backwards. You have the handles even.
Yeah.
No seat belts. And that was sort of like Japan's answer to the El Camino,
Right.
which is also very cool.
Yeah. Okay, and last question, I would think. Because we are on Drive Tribe, and that is a show hosted or created by the three trio from the old Top Gear, now the Grand Tour. What are your thoughts about the Grand Tour and the new show?
I think it's amazing. I love the fact that those three hosts stood together.
Yeah.
And went out and found a massive budget to do car shows. I mean, it's a weird time in the world of the automotive.
Yeah.
Because we've got people who could get a driver's license but would choose they'd rather get a new phone or something like that.
Sure.
And so the passion for cars and driving seems like it could be, the car enthusiast could be a dying breed, but it's shows like the Grand Tour and Top Gear and other car shows that keep that enthusiast satisfied and keeps new enthusiasts coming that are absolutely critical to protect something that we obviously both love.
Yeah. Okay, that'll be it. I just want to say before we finish that people say don't meet your stars, but if your star is Mr. Tanner Foust, then I highly suggest meeting him because he's an awesome guy and it's very fun to meet you.
Thanks, bud. Appreciate it. All right, we'll see you on the track, bud.
Yeah. Thanks, man.